Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We have a lot to get into. The Steelers at the NFL owners' meetings, and yet they're still looking at all these quarterbacks are going to be available in the first round of the draft, even though they signed Mitch Trubisky. We got some Steeler topics on the way. We'll also get into the Pirates. And what are they doing with Brian Reynolds? Why don't they just give him the money that he's looking for? He is their best player after all. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Penguins, who won today impressively, 11 goals, first time ever that many at PPG Paints Arena. Here to discuss is your panel, Chris Adamski from the Tribune Review, Trib Live over there across from me. Below him, it's another Chris Mueller of the PM team, 93.7 The Fan, every day 2 to 6. And across from him, it's Jason Mackey from the Post-Gazette, who covers the Pirates and does a great job with all things baseball and, quite frankly, every other sport. Let's get right into it today. Chris Mueller, we'll start with you on this one since there are two Chris's. I'm going to identify you by last name, too. We saw the Penguins win today. They're coming off a bad loss to New York. They got New York coming up again. Did they do enough at the trade deadline? Raquel got his first goal as a Penguin today, but was that enough to make a deep run?
I actually think it was, because they needed somebody else that could slot in on that second line, or maybe the top line, depending on where he fit. But obviously we think it's going to be the second line permanently. Jason Zucker is going to be back eventually, which gives them another skilled forward. I know everybody always wants around this time of year to add some defense to the mix, but I think they're okay back there. Like, I don't think it would be catastrophic if one of their depth guys just got hurt and they had to plug somebody else in. As long as it's not Chris Letang, I'm okay with their blue line. So if you go into it thinking that Raquel was probably the biggest name who was going to get moved from a scoring perspective, the fact that Ron Hextall landed him, and not only that, Bob, landed him without giving up a first-round draft pick. You listening, Rutherford? Huh, Jim? Are you listening? The fact that those two things happened makes me think that they had a pretty good and good enough deadline.
Jason?
Chris, don't be picking on my boy Rutherford, man. I'm going to have to stand up for Jimmy all day long. But no, I like what they did. I thought it was the perfect pitch. I've liked Rickard Rakell for a couple years. I've always thought he'd be a really nice fit in Pittsburgh. And, hey, credit to Ron Hextall for what he did. He did not give up too much. It's the perfect sort of mix right now, in my opinion, of left wing, right wing, handedness, who can play with whom. And it's up to Mike Sullivan the rest of the way to figure that out. But I like Jason Zucker when he comes back, put him on Evgeny Malkin's left wing. I really hope and think there can be some chemistry there. And I don't want to see this team being overly reliant on Kasperi Kapanen at this point. So if Rickard Rakell ends up fitting in with Malkin on that second line, great. I love the Gensel-Crosby-Rust combination up top, and I wouldn't have done anything else, guys. I'm fine with just leaving that talent the way it is.
I say this under the context of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are almost always somewhat of a crapshoot, and it's always matchups and depending on things like that. But this year, more than ever in the East, the 8 teams that separated themselves by Christmas, we knew who the 8 playoff teams would be, and they're all 8. You could sit down and the worst one of them is the Capitals, right? I think it's the one you have the hardest time maybe making a case for. It can win the Stanley Cup this year. Maybe Boston. But other than that, I don't know. I think the Penguins did everything they could. I think it's funny. In November and December, people were saying the Penguins had this really deep lineup. Then all of a sudden, by February, it was this really shallow lineup. Then it was a one-line team, and that's kind of the nature of when you have guys like Danton Heinen and that they're going to get streaky, and you hope they get streaky at the right time. And I think the Penguins did exactly probably what they should do in terms of making a playoff roster, finding that balance of not giving up too much of the future and getting an impact player in there. And I think they could. I wouldn't be shocked if they, made the Eastern Conference Final by any means, but I also wouldn't be shocked if they lost the Rangers in the first round. The Rangers are a good team. We saw it happen Friday night.
Yeah, they may not even get the Rangers in the first round, depending on how this plays out. It's so tight right now. With that in mind, Chris Mueller, what would define success for you? I put emphasis on regular season. If you went to the game today, part of this is entertainment. You got entertained to 11 goals. It's been wildly successful. But if they go into the first round and lose again, I guess it would depend on how they lose. But what would define success for you?
Well, I think that you can play that whole regular season, excellence defines success well in baseball, where it's 162 games and the playoffs are a mathematical crapshoot. To a degree, you can do it, guys, with the NHL. But I hold the Penguins to a different standard. And so for 2 reasons, the fact that they have proven themselves championship caliber twice under Sullivan and 3 times in the Malkin, Crosby, Letang era, that's one thing. The fact that they've done that. And then the fact that I look at this and I think about the decisions they've got to make, Malkin, Letang, Rust, this offseason, this feels like the last bite at the apple for them. And I know we've said that on other occasions, but it really feels that way now. And so given that reality, I really do need to see them make a pretty deep run. A first-round exit to the Rangers in any number of games would be pretty disappointing.
I lean more toward Chris on that for sure. Given what this team has done, and I think a lot of this is like context-based, circumstantial, the Penguins in the past couple of years just haven't fared very well in the playoffs. I'm not breaking any news to anybody, and that's not the sort of push that they have or the expectation that they have internally. As long as you have, I almost said 68, as long as you have 87 and 71, if they got 68 back, that would be awesome, believe me. But no, I mean, they expect more from themselves than that. And I also want to see how Tristan Jarry comports himself in the playoffs. I want to see, some of this offense is great. We're talking about how they're going to stack out their top three lines. I think back to like 2013 when they go to Boston and they can't get anything going despite moves at the trade deadline. Is that going to work? I don't know. Or maybe it was 14. I'm blanking now. But either way, they load up and can't get anything done in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I'd like to see them a couple rounds and be able to actually generate some offense.
It's been wild during the Crosby-Malkin era. They've had these highs, of course, winning 3 cups, making another final, and just look. You can't obviously top that, but some of the times they've been eliminated. In this era, in 2011 they didn't play. They blow a 3-run lead, blow another 3-run lead, 3-1 lead in a series. Give up 30 goals in a series against Philadelphia, then score 2 goals the next year against Boston. Get swept by the Islanders, lose to the 24 seed Montreal. Now last year was a case where it was a goaltending matchup. That was it. I hate to do that. I hate to be simple, but it was about as clear as day as you'll see in an NHL playoff series. The goalie on the one side winning games, the goalie on the other side losing games. And Jarry's been great, and I think he has the right mindset. And I'll count myself as a believer, but you got to believe everybody, even within the organization, is going to be a little tight to make sure they get regular season Tristan Jarry, get the good Tristan Jarry, and hope that wasn't just an aberration last year, because that was bad last year. And until he proves otherwise, right or wrong, fair or unfair, he's going to have to wear that as his reputation in the playoffs until he wins a couple rounds.
And Jarry will get a chance to make amends for what happened Friday against Shesterkin coming up on Tuesday. That's the next game. When we come back, we're going to switch the topic to the Steelers. They already have a lot of quarterbacks in their quarterback room. Do they have room for one more? And if so, who should it be? That's next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.
#1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran. Go one better.